Well, what's interesting about technology coming in, and we know that it is advancing at a alarming rate, much faster than it used to. And I think what's happened in the classroom is taken away the notion that the instructor or the teacher holds all the knowledge. The knowledge is in space now. The knowledge is available by everyone. And so it kind of changes the dynamic. And if you are a great teacher and educator and you know that, you release it and then you facilitate the discussions in the classroom. And that's what's key.
You're listening to the smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This is our District Talk segment where we interview district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday shine online. Now, let's get back to the interview.
I'm Chris Gaines. I'm superintendent of the Melville School District in suburban St. Louis. We've got about 10,000 kids spread over 11 elementaries, 4 middle schools, 2 high schools, and an early childhood center.
Hi, my name is Terrence Davis. I am the superintendent of Banning Unified School District, which is in Southern California, about 30 miles west of Palm Springs. We have 4,500 students serving 9 schools and about 250 employees.
I'm Becca Lamon. I'm the superintendent of Ball Chatham CUSD 5 in Chatham, Illinois, which is a suburb of Springfield, Illinois. We have approximately 4,600 students who are housed in 6 buildings.
How has the prevalence of technology in the classroom impacted student learning and engagement?
So it's kind of been interesting to kind of watch over time how technology's kind of influenced what's been happening in classrooms. It kind of started out with not very much at the beginning of my career. And now, we're a K-12 one-to-one district. We were one-to-one, but before COVID had hit. But just that access of information that students have available to them can make what happens on a daily basis in classrooms much more engaging. But our teachers also have to be mindful that it can also be distracting. So keeping kids on task while letting them explore. So being explicit in projects and the use of technology, I think, is an important kind of overall.
Well, what's interesting about technology coming in, and we know that it is advancing at a alarming rate, much faster than it used to. And I think what's happened in the classroom is taken away the notion that the instructor or the teacher holds all the knowledge. The knowledge is in space now. The knowledge is available by everyone. And so it kind of changes the dynamic. And if you are a great teacher and educator and you know that, you release it and then you facilitate the discussions in the classroom. And that's what's key. And I think as we continue to move forward and all different types of technology come in, that's going to be more and more the way to go. How we facilitate and harness the knowledge for learning for each student.
I think that technology today has allowed for our students to have instant access to information. So in my day, we had to wait to get to a library to look something up. So our students have instant, immediate action, I guess, to find that information. They are able to see the world beyond their door. And it's helping prepare, technology today is helping prepare our students for the skills that they're going to need for future careers.
How can school districts deal with social media uses that originate on social media apps and create a problem, perhaps on campus the next day or on Monday morning when all the students come back to campus?
Well, that seems to be the world that we're living in today, especially, right? I mean, now with all the swatting stuff that we've seen going on, and it's a real challenge for our principals when stuff starts stirring on social media late in the evenings and having to deal with all that before school starts. We've kind of gone over time to a process through engagement with our parents and understanding what they really want in terms of communication is we really try to communicate what's going on social media and what's stirring out there and kind of occasionally giving updates, like, hey, this is going on. This is all we know right now. We'll give you an update 10 or 15 minutes. Try to keep folks updated with kind of what we're hearing and what we're seeing, because most of the time our kids are sending stuff to parents before we know about it, right? And they're kind of stirring and get all aflutter, I guess.
You know, what's interesting is let's just use TikTok in particular. I have a 28-year-old daughter, and she doesn't work in the education field, but she is actually working for an influencer. And she said to me, Daddy, you need to do something because the world, not the education world, they talk really negative about education. And she says, I think you need to use the platform of TikTok. And she gave me some examples, like doing a voiceover on TikToks that relate to education about what your perspective is. Because she says, you're always very positive about it. I know you deal with all this stuff, but the world doesn't know about that. So then how can we use the platforms that students are using now to get to them? And that means you have to have someone who understands that. And so then the next piece of this is when there's an issue in schools or challenges, which happens all the time, how do we turn that around to use that as a learning moment? Then that way you're really getting the voice across on all the platforms.
So I think the first strategy is just ensuring that not only our students, but our staff have strong digital citizenship skills and understand the ramifications of their behavior on social media. And then working with parents as well to understand those implications. I think in increasing district communication to make sure that we're getting the correct information out to our community to dispel rumors and myths before they can take hold. And then one strategy that I like to employ is actually calling individuals who've posted things on social media and just saying, let's chat. I saw your post. It looks like you have a concern. Let's talk that over. Usually people are taken aback by that. Sometimes that's with some hostility because they feel like a social media post is private. And we have a little conversation about how it is a public platform that they're engaging in, and that I want to make sure that they have all of the information that they need and why perhaps what they've put out there is not accurate. That works pretty well in tapping down some of the problems that we've had.
Can you provide some examples of how your students have used their social media in a positive and productive way that may have benefited themselves or their community?
So today specifically, we've got a service learning day for our high schools. So our freshmen are out and about in our building in elementary schools, kind of helping out. Our juniors are busy in school today, and our seniors are out and doing service learning in the community today on projects that they're working on. And so the kids are posting all this stuff on social media today around the things that they're doing that benefit their community. A lot of people are down on today's kids, whatever today's kids are, but we've got a lot of kids who really help out their communities in a significant manner and give back to their communities in a significant way. And today's just one of those days where we're seeing them share that on social media. And we are too on our platforms to show that, you know what, we got a bunch of good kids and they're out helping out people in our community.
Yeah, I can think of a few examples of this and students using Instagram and or TikTok or Facebook to just talk about the positive things that are going on with them. Hey, I've been awarded this or received recognition for this particular award, and let me show people what I'm doing, or here are the advancements that I'm utilizing in sports. And then so when that happens and we get that information, then we take note of that and then amplify it. That way, it's not just the student to student information. It then becomes the student to the adult to the community information that really amplifies what's happening with our kids and shows a lot of positivity.
We have a couple of examples. So our students have an Instagram account called Code Red, in which they're advertising what's going to happen in the student section for athletic events. So what the theme is for the night and trying to rally more people to come to our events. So I think that's a really positive way our students are using some social media. I think today with apps like Huddle, our students are able to get out video of their athletic abilities to promote for their college searches and to get noticed in ways that they've not been able to get seen at the collegiate level previously. I also think that just some of the courses our students are involved in, some of our CTE courses with our vocational center, they are running a student podcast. They are involved in different courses with media technology. And so just having those opportunities and getting that information out across social media are great ways that our students are engaging in social media.
In the age of one-to-one, how are you preparing students for positive technology use in the classroom?
Well, being a district that's K-12 one-to-one and have been so for a while, our students have had technology at their fingertips for quite some time. So we really start early, teaching them how to use technology in a way that helps to leverage their learning and not for, kind of the nonsense kind of stuff. So it's all of those, what I think of old smart kids kind of stuff and being internet savvy and information savvy and just showing kids positive examples of how to use stuff. And sometimes you got to say, this is a way we've seen a negative use. And it doesn't really work when we do things that way.
Yeah, so I think in this age and preparing students, it is a challenge. And it's a challenge because there's not a lot of education out there that we as the educators are being specific about. And that deals with, of course, digital citizenship. And so how do we ensure that we're making that a priority, not only with students, but also with the teachers and the parents? Because I'm all a firm believer for letting students explore and learn. Because if they don't, then they don't know what's going on. However, how can we provide guidance? And that is, I think, through digital citizenship and explaining these are appropriate ways to utilize social media and giving them some examples of when that is not applied correctly, what the damage can be done for students in our environment.
I think there's a lot of strategies involved with one-to-one. And I think the first thing that happened was this fear of students misusing the technology or getting into trouble and getting to places they shouldn't be. So I think one of the most important things is that we're making sure that we're using the rule of 95 and we're thinking about the 95% of our student body who is able and capable of utilizing technology in a responsible manner, instead of making rules and regulations for the 5%. So there's always going to be the 5%. And so we just need to deal with those situations on their own merit instead of turning technology into something that doesn't mimic what real life technology is going to be for our students, or they're not going to have the skills and ability to use that. So I think that's the first strategy. The second strategy, again, goes back to digital citizenship and really talking to our students about where are those dangers, where are those pitfalls, and what are those long-term implications if they misuse something. And I think the third strategy is just adults modeling that correct behavior. One of the first things we say to our new teachers is please go scrub your social media account, because the first thing that's going to happen when class lists are released is that students are going to go look up who their teachers are. And no one needs to see certain pictures of their staff members. And so just helping our adults understand that every day they're a role model for our students as well.
Thanks for listening to our smartsocial.com podcast. I'm your host, Josh Oakes. This was our District Talk segment where we interview school district leaders to learn how they're keeping students safe on social media so those students can someday launch into their future by shining online. This episode was brought to you by our smartsocial.com VIP program. It's called the Very Informed Parent Program, which helps you engage your students with teen-led video lessons. Stay one step ahead with our premium parent newsletter and discover hidden features on trending apps on teens' phones and our 54+ live parent and student-friendly events every single year. You can click on the link below to chat with one of our team members if you want a free pass to our VIP program to support your community with our smartsocial.com resources. And if you're a district leader who has a success story, we would love to feature you on a future episode. You can click the links below to reach out. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Have a great day.